I think mentors are probably the most important thing you could have, not just in business, but just in life. You would think that I know it all about restaurants, and I actually still use mentors. If you don't have a mentor, you better find one, or find a few.
Hey everybody, welcome to Path to the Pinnacle. We are here today, Scotty Jones and Rich Rossi with Steve DiFillippo, the owner of Davio's restaurant group. He has restaurants on the East Coast in Texas, and he is ultra successful in his field. And we want to chat with him today and pick his brain on some of the things that he's done to get to the level that he's at today. So, hey Steve, thanks for joining us.
How are you? It's funny they're saying I'm successful. I didn't feel too successful a year ago when we were closed for 3 months. That was, no one, you could prepare yourself for anything, but not for this. I mean, on March 16th, 2020, I actually furloughed 1,054 people, including myself. I had 0 employees. I actually shut the company down because I was fortunate. I had some friends who were involved with this thing, and they were like, Steve, this is going to be a long time. And I was like, that's because we were bleeding. I mean, there was just no way we're going to do takeout. At that time, we didn't know what takeout would be. We didn't know about PPP. When you look back on last March, think about how much we know now, right? Remember we were like wiping down our mail? I mean, I never did, but they were, so it's been a challenging year, but we're actually back and we're doing fine. We're going to be good.
I don't think anyone prepared for what happened, obviously. Yeah. So it was kind of learning on the fly.
Yeah. We didn't know how long it was going to be. And, it did, I got to say, when we opened in June, it wasn't that bad. If you watch some of these news programs, you would think that, the country was, all the restaurants are terrible. Now, some restaurants did close, obviously, and some restaurants had trouble, but we were kind of blessed. We were in kind of some good locations in the suburbs. And we came back. We lost a few restaurants, but that's okay. Some of them deserve to be lost. They weren't great deals, So it actually, in the long run, I think I'm going to be okay. And I think our company's actually a stronger company right now. So it's good.
So how many restaurants do you have now?
We have 10 restaurants. And one in Atlanta is being renovated, and then the airport will open up next month. So that'll get us, right now we have 8 open. That'll get us to 10. And then I have a couple other deals, actually. I have another one opening in Virginia next year. That'll start being built this winter. I have another thing that I'm about to sign. I'm just keep going. I just love what I do. I have such a great team. It's just unbelievable how blessed I've been with who I work with. Because that's what I wrote the book. It's all about the guests. People think it's about the guests who walk to the front door, but most of the book is really about the inner guests, our employees who walk through the back door. Because I think my philosophy is if you take care of the people you work with, you do a really good job with that, you're going to be around a long time. And Davio's it's crazy. I've been around since '85. It's 36 years. Wow. I don't know where the time went, I'll tell you, but I feel like I'm just getting started. I just love what I do. And, I think I tell people all the time, find your passion, find out what you love, and you don't have a job. I really don't think I have a job. I literally just keep going, and I'm just not going to stop. People say to me, Steve, you've been doing this a long time. When are you going to retire? Retire. I think restaurant guys, you ever notice they sell the company and then within 2 years they're back doing it again? How many times do you see that with restaurant guys? Okay. We can't retire. We just love what we do so much. So I've seen a lot of the guys make that mistake. I'm not going to do that.
So you have a lot of food in supermarkets as well, right? So
yeah, we're all over the country. We have obviously the spring roll side, and then we started a sausage. So the sausage is actually doing incredibly well. We partnered with KM, and that was a funny story. So I get a lot of calls because we don't just have the sausages. I sell a lot of other products. We have about 25 products, and I've been on QVC. I sell products on TV and stuff. So I get a lot of calls from random people. I got this product and that. Can you meet with me? Give me some advice. So after a while, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. A lot of these people, it's kind of like Shark Tank, where they're just too early. They just have no idea what they're doing. And if you had the product set, you got the name, you got the packaging, I can help you. But if you just have an idea, I don't have time. Right? So I got a call one day from our guy who does our packaging. Actually, they do our website. They do our branding, our beautiful boxes. So the guy calls me up and he goes, "Hey, Steve, I got this company. He says, I got this guy who wants to talk to you about your Davio sausage. They love your sausage and they want to sell the Davio sausage." I said, "Okay, I can't meet with these people. I just can't meet with another guy. I have so many people. I have all these restaurants. At the time I'm traveling. This is way pre-COVID." So I said, "By the way, who's the guy?" And they go, "Oh, it's Cam." I was like, "Cam, the guys that make the hot dogs for Cam, right?" I said, "You could have led with Cam." I met with them the next day, okay, and we worked out a license deal, and they came in. It took about a year to get our recipe right, and we actually don't even make it anymore. I just buy it from Cam. It's that good.
So Steve, obviously to get to where you are, right, you've overcome some obstacles and hurdles and all that stuff. We talk to a lot of successful people, and a lot of them share in the same fears that we do. So I'd like to hear about how you maybe have overcome some of the fears that you've had along the way, and what you've done to overcome them, and what you do to cope with these fears that you may or may not have.
Well, the reason a lot of restaurants or businesses go out of business, in my opinion, is it's money. They don't make money. They don't realize that they're losing money all over the place. Their costs aren't right. The payroll's too high. The food costs, the liquor costs, the rent. I can go on and on. I mean, there's so many reasons. You'll see a restaurant packed, right, for like a year, and then they're gone the next year. You say, that's because they were losing money every day. So because their food cost was too high, or they're undercapitalized, right? So what I do is I save money. Okay, I am like a hoarder. Okay, I have money going into mutual funds every week. Okay, so that to me is something that I always tell people. Whenever you start a business, just don't look at what your overhead is. You got to look at that mutual fund, and every week you got to be saving money. You never know, a pandemic might show up, right? I mean, so that's the thing. And also renovating. Like I always keep the restaurants fresh. I'm always redoing things. We just did the floor over in Foxborough this week. Go there today, you'll see a brand new floor. We just did the bar over in Linfield. King of Prussia, we just did the floor and the bar. I mean, you got to keep investing back into your businesses. And I think a lot of businesses don't do that. They do it, after 5 years or 10 years. I don't do that. I'm constantly renovating, constantly fixing things up, and I'm constantly saving money. And I think, and of course, this thing here, your smartphone, is unbelievable. I mean, you can get so much stuff from this thing. I have, the daily numbers. I have weekly food costs. I have, obviously, I know what's going on with our payroll. We do payroll daily. We're so on top of our numbers that, it's not too late. A lot of businesses, they get their monthlies and then they're losing money, and it's already, you just lost a month and you're probably into the next month. So now it's 6 weeks that you can't do that. You got to be on your numbers daily. And that's something I think if you talk to real successful businesses, that's what they do. They have an amazing system, and we're blessed to have that.
That's really good stuff. It's insightful, because I think a lot of us in the industry that we're in, we forget about that it's still a business. It's not just like, okay, let's go sell a house today. We forget about all the metrics and the data and the projections of cash flow and all that stuff. So
like you, when you sell a house, right, you better take 10% and save it, right? I mean, you might not sell enough. I mean, you guys are really good. I'm sure you sell a ton of houses, but you might have a bad 3 months, I don't, so you got to save some of that money. It's like, the fishermen come in, right? They blow all the money, you got to save some of that money, you're not going out for another 10 days, and I just see this all the time. It just makes me crazy.
Absolutely.
The one compliment, not one, but definitely a compliment I can give you is there is such consistency throughout all of your restaurants. No matter which one you go to, you guarantee great food, you guarantee great customer service. And that goes a long way. Obviously, I go to restaurants a lot, so a lot of people know me. And walking through the door when someone comes up and that works there and says, "Hey, Rich, how you doing?" Like, that goes a long way, and that makes you want to come back.
Yeah. Well, we obviously control the buying, so the steak's the same. The produce is, the fish. We use Foley fish, Cambridge packing. We have incredible steak. So the meat and all that stuff is controlled. Even though each restaurant buys directly, they can't buy from anyone else. So that's number one. Number two, we have great trainers, right? We got Rodney, I have, Paul Flaherty, Kara, we have managers traveling around every week, myself, and consistency is a huge thing with us. We really care about that. But I think the biggest thing is it's really about how you're treated. Now, you're a big guy, Rich. It's kind of obvious when you walk in, you're pretty obvious. But, because this is what I say all the time. Look, the food has to be good, no question about it. But let's say you go to a restaurant and they overcooked the steak, right? They messed up. You understand that's a physical mistake. The chef took the wrong steak off the grill. It was someone else's steak, whatever. They made a mistake. But if you go, and you'll give them another try because that was a physical mistake. But if you go to a business, not just a restaurant, any business, and you go in there and they're not nice, or they're indifferent, or they're rude, or the server's a jerk, right? Bartender's got that attitude, right? You come in, you see the hostess doesn't even talk to you. You go to the bar, the bartender's trying to pick up the server. They don't even look at you. You see the cook smoking by the dumpster, right? You're like, what is going on here, right? And you have a terrible experience. You haven't even eaten yet. Okay, that's a problem, right? So I'm a food guy. I went to BU. Then I went to chef school. I'm a chef, but I'll tell you, I think the way you're treated in a business is more important than the food. And I know that seems crazy, but it's true. I'm telling you, it's true. And not just restaurants. Any store you go to, I'm sure you go to some places the food's not that great, or maybe the store's not that. You're treated like a king, right?
Yep.
And you go back to those places.
Yep.
Tell you. And that's what I teach our team all the time. We have to pay attention to what we're doing. We're in a fishbowl in our business, right? Everyone comes in and watches us, So we have to, and it's hard with these masks. Very hard to show hospitality. That's why we have the pictures of everybody right here. That was something I really thought was important. And I think that's helping a little bit of the hospitality.
Yeah, we say the same thing to all our realtors. We're in the relationship building business. That's what this is.
You are definitely, I think you're in more of a relationship business than I am. Realty is really important. Yeah.
We touched on the pandemic earlier, Steve, and you talked about the challenges there. Is that the most challenging thing you've had to deal with in your career? And if not, what are some of the other challenges that you may have?
Well, I think, because it's present right now, we think it is, but I think 9/11 was a tough time. I think we did come back pretty quick that winter because it was a mild winter, but that was a really tough time. Obviously, we've had recessions. We've had 08, 09, 10. That was a tough time. We've had other times. The late 80s when they took away the credit for lunches for businesses. And that was really significant. We lost lunch overnight. So we've had some things that happened over the 36 years of my career. But this one is definitely the most challenging. But on the other hand, we've had some help, right? We've had some major government help that I've never had before. I'm like an anti-government guy. I've never really dealt with the government. I mean, ironically, I was on the governor's board, reopening board, which is kind of ironic. I've become a government guy, unpaid, it's kind of funny. I'm not like a paid government guy, but I've seen the importance of government, and I can see how the government can really help. And I think we're blessed that we had an amazing year last year with the actual government help. They came forward with the PPP. They came up with the EIDL loans. I mean, and now we're in the third one. We haven't gotten anything from the third one. It's delayed, but we hope to get a bunch of money there too. So that never happened before. If anything, it went the other way, right? You couldn't even borrow any money. Banks were like, I'm sorry, in the restaurant business, they would start laughing. So, now it's a different ballgame. We have people feel bad for restaurants. We actually have people are helping us. I mean, it's been, so that's why I think it's not that bad. I know I hate to say that because we've lost so many people have died. I lost a brother-in-law, my wife lost an aunt, father-in-law. I mean, we've lost some people in the family, but business-wise, it's going to be okay. We're going to come back. I really feel. I think the country is going to come back stronger than ever. I really believe that. It's going to take a little time, but we're coming back.
With that said, and all the changes that you made because of the pandemic, do you think any of those will carry over when we're back to normal?
Yeah, I think we've become more humbled. I think, some of the, being out of work for 3 months, I hadn't been out of 3 months, I think, since I was 17 or high school. I always had a job, even at BU, I always worked. And those 3 months really kind of, said, I'm never retiring. I'm never going to do this. I'll tell you that. I was making 3 meals a day for I gained a little weight. It was just terrible. So I think I really realized how much I love what I do. And by the way, it's not just me. I've talked to some other businessmen in town who were contemplating selling their companies or retiring, and they're not doing it now. I mean, they're like, wow, I realized that I love what I do and I'm not going anywhere. So that also, and then I think we really, when we came back, we really looked at, not that you always think you're looking at your costs. We always think we're looking at every little thing. But I'll tell you, when we came back, we really looked at I can't tell you how much we looked at. And we saved a lot of money doing a lot of things, with our inventories. We really, I think, are a much better company now because we got hit over the head, and a lot of companies didn't, do that. They didn't come back. I honestly, I think some companies just quit. I do. I think some of them were tired. They didn't want to come back. They left the industry. I mean, I've talked to some of my friends in the business who they were already gonna go, and this was just a good reason to go. And I think people like me who just love what they do so much, I look at it as it kind of revitalized me. I really am. I am so pumped right now. I just can't wait for the next year or two. I can't wait to go back to 3 feet distancing from 6 feet.
Right.
I've been fighting for that. We'll see. Hopefully, once we get about 3.5, 4 million people vaccinated, we'll get that. Probably not till June is what I think.
Do you have outdoor seating at all your restaurants? Like I know Arlington Street, are there tables outside?
We're adding Arlington Street I have a meeting there today. We got approved. The city's been. That's another thing. Boston kind of had a reputation for not really helping restaurants and helping us do things. They really stepped up. It's just amazing. We have tables on the sidewalk in Arlington Street. Do you ever think that could happen? I mean, have you seen the North End? It's awesome. Have you seen like some of these sidewalks? They've got, the barriers out in the bellies. I mean, you never think that could ever happen in our city, and it's happening. Our city's becoming vibrant. It's going to be great. Now, we just need people to come back to the offices. We need tourism to come back. We need conventions. Once that comes back, because right now we're kind of living off each other. Right. And I think we need that. But the other thing is the states helped us a lot too. They gave us money too. There was loans to restaurants, so it wasn't just the federal government. The state has helped us. The city has helped us. City of Boston. We even out in King of Prussia in Pennsylvania, they helped us. None of that ever happened before in my life. It's really, I just think it's great. I think, we finally got help. And I think I'm just proud of all the people that have helped us.
That's awesome. Good stuff.
Really cool. So Steve, one more question for you.
Sure.
Growing up, did you have a role model? And if you did, what was it about that person that kind of intrigued you and wanted to make you like emulate them?
Well, I get that question a lot because I actually talk about that in my book about mentors. I actually have a whole thing about it. I think mentors are probably the most important thing you could have when you're growing up in life, not just in business, but just in life. And I'm 60 years old now. I still have mentors. Like I'm doing a new deal, in around here somewhere. And I don't want to say because it's not done yet, but I still have mentors. I still call people. You would think that I know it all about restaurants, and I actually still use mentors as we speak. But when I was growing up, my dad obviously was a huge mentor to me. My football coach, huge mentor. And then as I started to get into business, Bobby Hilson, who ran Seaside and Faneuil Hall, he was my first real restaurateur guy that I got to really know. And of course, Thanos. I mean, I knew Charlie Sarkis. I mean, there's a lot of those guys that I knew once I got going, who a lot of them are gone now. And I've replaced them with some people who are in other industries that I still talk to. So to me, if you don't have a mentor, you better find one or find a few. Because one person might be really good at real estate, or one person might be good at people, or everyone has their kind of thing that they're good at. I don't think there's one mentor for everybody. That's kind of how I think. My father thought he was the mentor for everybody, but I think he didn't really know the restaurant business, right? But he was an amazing businessman, amazing sales guy, and he's unfortunately died. But he's there at 90. He had a great life, but you got to keep reinventing yourself. That's a thing. And if you can't just use the older mentors, you got to get new ones, even younger ones. I have guys that were younger than me. I have ones who don't even have a business. you got to talk to people. You got to communicate. You got to, talk to people and get advice about a lot of things, And I think that's why I have made mistakes. And I think some of the mistakes I made is I didn't talk to people. I went and thought I knew it, and I was too rushed to do a deal without really investigating as much as I could. And I'm really going to make sure I never do that.
That's awesome. And
Really?
big congratulations for being inducted into the Massachusetts Restaurant Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Actually, that was in Pier 4. How ironic. That was on the second floor when that happened. And now it's a condo.
Yeah.
And the Seaport restaurant overlooks the grassy knoll where Pier 4 was. And the second floor of Davio's Seaport, that first floor part of it, we actually call that the Aganis Room. And I named it after the Aganis family to tip my hat to them, because they really put Boston on our map. I mean, we just there was nothing here in the 60s when they opened that thing. It was top restaurant in the country at one time.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Frank Sinatra would go. It was just the presidents. It was just world class. It was just unbelievable. And it's gone. So when I look over there and I see the grassy knoll, it kind of scares me, honestly. How a restaurant that popular and that good and that unbelievable lost its way. And I'm not going to be that person. I'm constantly reinventing. We're constantly changing the food. We're getting better and better. And I think once you think you've made it, you're going to start going downhill in life, in business. And I don't honestly feel like I've made it. I'm still striving to get better, and I'm still hiring new people and good people and younger people. And I think I'm not afraid to hire young people who are better than me and smarter. And that's kind of, people can't believe it. I literally sit at a table with people who, they'll tell me what they think. I might not always listen to them, but I might still do what I want, but I still listen. And I always take something from everything, maybe not 100%, but I listen. That's a big thing my dad always taught me. Listen. Don't always, you might think I'm doing a lot of talking on this thing because I'm being interviewed, but I do listen. I really do. I ask a lot of questions, and I listen. And I think that's something that, to be successful, it's kind of what we're talking about today, right? How to be successful. Ask a lot of questions and listen. Very important.
That's a very common theme in a lot of the successful people that we talk to, is exactly what you just said. And it's really true. You can always learn something new. You can always learn a better way to do things. Could be somebody older than you, could be somebody younger than you, but I totally agree with what you're saying. And
we greatly appreciate your time and your knowledge, and most importantly, your friendship. And this has been great. Really has.
Great. Well, good luck with this. I think these kind of things are important. I try to give back wherever I can, and I hope that people watch what you do and they listen and they learn, and we become better as a society. We become more of a team. I think we're missing that a little bit right now in this country. And all right, thank you. God bless.